Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to talk about treating people well. You know the old adage of treating others how you would want to be treated? I think there's a better way, and that's treating others how they would want to be treated. When you follow the golden rule, you are creating the standards. You're putting yourself in their shoes and then asking, what would I want in this situation? While this is for the most part completely adequate, I think sometimes it misses the mark. I, for one, get really irritated. No, I'll go as far as say that it is one of my biggest pet peeves when people talk for me, impose their thoughts and feelings on me, or say things like, well, if you were me, you would do the same thing. 'Cause no, I am not you. You are you. I am me, and I have a mind that's completely separate from yours. Your mind? My mind. Your mind? My mind. Two separate things. And that is the same for everyone. You have a mind, and 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 I'm not Oprah, but we all have mind. Not one of us is the model from which every other person was made. I don't care who you think you are or how relatable you think you are. We all have different opinions, values, triggers, wants, desires, and ideals for how we would like to be treated. Two people can be totally different in how they approach a certain situation. So, this platinum rule, as it's been called by some, is about understanding that what works for you isn't necessarily what works for someone else. It's recognizing that someone wants space when maybe you're not a fan of distance. It's realizing that while you may be an extrovert, that introvert right over there is different, doesn't enjoy you saying that they're not talking enough. It's realizing that while you may be a hugger, I may not be, even though I am, so feel free to give me all of your hugs. It's realizing that things that annoy you may not bother someone else in the slightest, and vice versa. It's acting with awareness of the other person rather than assuming that their mind is the same as yours. It's realizing that there are some points of view that you simply lack. You haven't been through it all. We've all been through different experiences. My brother and I both grew up in the same exact household, surrounded by the same exact people, and I can list off hundreds of different perspectives that we don't share. I've never really struggled with school. I've never tried really hard to not do well to have someone tell me that I could have tried harder. And that's the harm. Who's to say someone didn't try? Who's to say that I tried it all? But when people don't do well at something, they personally say to themselves, oh, well, I could have done better. So they project that onto others and say, oh, they just weren't trying hard enough. And that's just a perspective that I lack. I also lack the perspective of having parents who push me to do something. I've changed my majors and my life path about 4 times in the past 3 years, and not once did I ever stop and think, oh no, what are my parents gonna think of this? And that is privilege. That is a privilege. That is something I don't have to worry about, while there are tons of people who feel like pursuing something that interests them would be a disappointment to their parents. And that's what I really like about this mindset, because it's all about checking your privilege and realizing that not everyone has the privilege of not caring about the same things that don't bother you. Whether it's because of a past relationship or life circumstance or how someone grew up, people have different triggers, and you'd be wise to respect them. Especially when someone's opening up and telling you about their problems that would never be problems for you. Because honestly, if you've never had to deal with something or feeling a certain way, you do not have the authority to project how someone else should feel about the situation. So instead of telling someone to not be so sensitive or that something's not a big deal, try rather to understand their perspective. It's important to check yourself. Remind yourself that this situation isn't about you, or this situation isn't only about you. And remember that you lack the perspective, the entire perspective of the other person altogether. This is about getting to know someone and putting them first over your standards of what they should want. Because sometimes looking solely through the lens of our lived experience to figure out what is and what isn't acceptable ways to treat someone can cause conflict. Because I'm going to call it what it is, and it's imposing your view of the world onto someone else. To me, this little tweak of the golden rule exudes consideration for one another. It's understanding and accommodating for the fact that not everyone wants to be treated in the same manner. Treating others well should not be based off of what you want. And I don't think any successful relationships are based off of that either. So that's all I have for you today, but I do want to mention one caveat, and that's not to compromise someone's best interest for their wants. There's a difference between being attentive to what other people want and enabling their bad thoughts and habits. It's a fine line, I know, but sometimes you have to walk it. But I hope you all learned something today and keep it in the back of your mind when dealing with others. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up because it lets me know I'm doing something right. If you have anything to say, by all means say it. And if you'd like to see more, hit that subscribe button and join the family because we'd love to have you. I'll see you next time, and remember to explore, grow, and be kind. Bye, guys. So that's why this platinum rule, as it's been... That's actually, I every time I make a video, there's one situation where I do that whole... Yeah. Anyway, so